Hi, I'm Mark Duxbury. Softly is a weekly prose podcast, this time almost eyes. The air was dense with brine and anticipation. Here, where the shoreline met itself halfway, a gap opened. Not water, not sand, but something else. Something in another state entirely. The wind cut in restless arcs, quick as thoughts uninformed, shaking the reeds into conspiracies. That was the thing about the marshlands. They weren't solid, they weren't liquid, they were something in between, the way a person might feel on the verge of remembering a name, or a word, or a face. Almost eyes, they called it. No one could say why. Speculations grew in the wet soil, taking root like the stubborn marsh grass. It was told a ship had run aground once, here, a century ago, its crew vanishing without trace. Again, it was told a man once walked into the reeds at twilight and came out at dawn, aged by 50 years. Sometimes it was told, if the light caught you just so, you'd see what? Something watching, something waiting. Margaret knew them all. She had grown up on them. Her father, a fisherman, hands as rough as the wood of his boat, would tell her as they sat by the fire. She hadn't believed in them, not really. Not until now. She was standing ankle deep in the muck, holding the hem of her skirt as a lifeline, staring at a shape that didn't make sense. It blinked in the distance. More suggestion than certainty, a glint of a thing. Almost an eye, but not quite. She blinked again. The glint stayed. Margaret thought about shouting out, but any words stuck in her throat. Instead, she stepped forward, the mud sucking at her shoes as if it had a mind of its own. The air smelled of salt and decay, as something sweeter, ripe fruit, left too long in the sun. She reached out, though she wasn't quite sure why. She felt the substance of her hand in the space between herself and something. Then nothing, no glint, no almost, just the reeds and the marsh and the distant cry of a gull. Margaret didn't move. She stayed with her arm still outstretched towards something she couldn't quite name. Later, she couldn't say for sure that she'd seen anything at all. Her voice would tremble, though, just a little, when she talked about how the light had caught her, how it almost looked back.